Hello, y'all. This is I, back with another poem. When I say I, what I mean is Samuel Alexander. I'm back with another poem from my series, I See Things in Blue, titled, not Dario, titled Gavin, um, which deals with, Dario, who suffers from anxiety, depression, self-worth, and, self-identity and things like that, and how he navigates through that to the end of the series, and how he comes out, whether good or bad. Um, this is interesting, this one. Um, it's one of the Rain poems, and I said I had three. In the first one, I think I read Rain the Story, and this one is Rain the Sound. And I could have left them Rain, and lofty ideas in my brain, and people, if I ever became famous and I've got these three Rain poems, people would discuss them and wonder, oh, which Rain is your favorite and stuff like that. But the other side of me thought, you're never going to be important enough for anything like that. So just give them names for the random people who, come along and see them. It's okay to give them a subtitle. So, Rain the Sound. And this one fits for the same reasons that clouds fit. And rain, you know, rain comes from the sky, so we're sticking on the high vein before we get to those actual poems. But there's a reason why, after I read it, why it makes sense for this particular installment in the series, the second part. But I'm going to hold that off for after I read it. Hopefully I'll remember it, because it's getting late. It's getting dark. And it was a little bit brighter when I did the first one, but I had the circle light on anyway. And now, I can see it's a very good thing I turned it on already, so now I don't have to turn it on, now that I have more natural light. But yeah. I'm just gonna read it. So this is from my series, I See Things in Blue, second part, Gavin, and it is titled Rain, the Sound. Drip, drop, drip, drop. The rain from my heart is drowning my soul. Usually the sound of water keeps me calm, the flowing sound of a gentle brook, the crashing noise of the waves amongst the reefs, the sound of the ocean in the distance pulling me in to sandy beaches. The wispy sound of fast rain on the ground, the soothing patter against my roof, the splatter as I splash in a random puddle, even the look of raindrops on a leaf fills my head with fond memories of pain. The sound of this rain isn't the same. It plummets on the walls of my skin. It pounds against my window, leaving me looking out in despair. The rain is falling too hard for me to escape, to let myself go, to be free from these crashing waves of distress and depressing rivers that flow hurriedly on the sound of dangerously connecting rapids. The canoe of my inner being runs adrift and starts to waver in the random sidewalk puddles, and speeding cars make a swooshing sound as they drench my oar in the puddles they drive in. My pockets of pain fill up with the hail that pounds against my hopes and dreams with loud pats of stinging noises. The rain howls and cries in harmony with the wind that blows all my faith from within my grasp. Oh, how I long for the days way back when the sound of raindrops falling from heaven did not bring such devastation, depression. When I knew the sound meant the drink of new life, but now it only signifies the sound, the music, the symphony of the flooding tsunami of what used to be. An ore that looks like a land destroyed by an evil menace falling from the sky. My rain has become hail, then ice, a snowstorm of life. The sound of rain used to fill me with delight, the light. But now I'm unilluminated, and the joy has dissipated and gone away in this rainstorm of pain. I guess I'll have to rely on long lost memories, so long forgotten they're almost a dream, a fantasy. I can't hold on, try to grasp them, too late. They're gone. But the sound of rain lives on. Drip drop, drip drop. The rain from my heart is drowning my soul. Okay, this one fits because I think it kind of speaks very specifically, even more so than Clouds, to what Gavin is feeling when their friendship breaks up for a minute. Because Dario is their bestest friend, like their bestest friend. And Rayland, of course, because they're a trio. And the sight of him quite literally brings up anger in him. And that's what this poem speaks to, the fact that something that once brought you calm and once saddled you, something that you once only saw joy in, every time it happens now, all you feel is pain and hurt. And that's exactly how he feels every time he sees Dario afterwards. And he doesn't like it, and he doesn't know what to do with it, because he just wants to be friends. You know, he wants it to heal. He wants it to be the same. And he went from one day being the closest of friends, and then quite literally the first day of school, there was nothing. And that's how he sees, that's just how he sees it. The only way he knows how to deal with what's happened to him is to just disconnect from Dario, even though it's indirectly his fault. What happened was because of Dario's parents. But as a teen, and a high school teen at that, he doesn't know what to do with that. I mean, his initial reaction is to go into his bedroom and just cry. He doesn't know what else to do with this anger. And he can't go lash out at, two people that are, bigger than him and who he sees as more powerful than him in the social structure of life. And the next best thing is to take it out on Dario, because by extension, those are your parents. And so what do you do? And was it the best choice? Most definitely not. Did he see any other option? He did not. He did not know what to do with all of these negative emotions that were swelling up inside of him. And this was a quick fix. And once he sank into it, he couldn't come out of it. And it just got worse for both of them. And that's what I like about this poem and how it fits in. Is that it very clearly describes the way that something used to bring joy does the exact opposite, but nothing about that object has changed, because Dario is still the same Dario. Nothing about him has changed. However, something within you has changed, and now you can't see your former object of joy in the same way. And I think this poem does a really good job of expressing that. And as we know, I like ice and water and things like that. They feature in a lot of my poems. So that's another reason why it's written this way. And I also like, from a poetic standpoint, it's that if you remember Rain the Story was pretty tragic. However, it storied into a particularly great and happy ending. It was pretty and it was beautiful, and the ending made you rethink what had happened in it. And this poem does not do that. It it is what it says it is. Things are not as great as they used to be, versus coming into a situation and believing it's not great and then finding out that you had nothing to worry about, which is what Rain, the story, is about. Rain, the feeling, is about how things can change within us emotionally and ultimately upset the balance of things that used to bring us joy. And that's quite literally what happens in book one and what happens in book two, where it concerns Gavin and Daria. And so it fits. It fits very nicely. And that's why it's here. So there isn't really much more to say about this one. This one is fun to read, though. Like, I really like the end, even though I fumbled it a teeny bit. Like, so long forgotten, they're almost a dream, a fantasy. I can't hold on, try to grasp them. Too late. They're gone. But the sound of rain lives on. And rain is still going to come. Dario is going nowhere. He's going to keep coming back. And Gavin is always going to be reminded of the two emotions he feels when he sees them: the strong desire for things to be as they were, and the realization that they might never be that way again. So, the sound of rain lives on. And this is another example of me bringing the first lines back in at the end of the poem. Quite literally in this one, it's identical, and I like that. It's a nice little framework for the big rambling run-on sentences that live in the middle. This one has a lot of this. There's very few solid stanzas. The whole middle block is like big run-on sentences, but here we are. So if you've made it this far, as per usual, thanks for stopping by.